Hi, and welcome to today's edition of the Rural Rapport. I'm Kristine Flyinghawk. I am the Native Communities Manager for our Northeast Nebraska tribes. And today we have a special guest with us, Angelina Magerl. She is new to our Native Communities team, and I'm thrilled to introduce her. And I'm really excited about the work that we're going to be achieving. So I'm going to ask Angelina if you'd introduce yourself and give us a little bit of your background.
Okay, my name is Angelina Magerl. I moved here recently from Arizona. I lived in Arizona for the past 20 plus years, but I actually grew up here in Winnebago. I lived here till I was about 12 years old. My mom's family lives here. I'm an enrolled member of the Winnebago tribe of Nebraska. And so I'm familiar with the area here. Happy to be working with the Omaha tribe. I'm hoping to transfer some of my skills that I've acquired throughout my career working with plants and community gardening and farmers markets and everything to be able to provide some resources and some services to the communities that we serve.
Awesome. What has been some of your food sovereignty work with community gardens and farmers markets?
My work is mostly so far in urban areas. So what we did was more urban community gardening and creating community gardens in unused urban space. So we'd acquire spaces from different municipalities. We worked with the city of Tempe because they had the most space available that had access to water and everything like that. So what we did was use our community gardens to provide fresh produce to communities that didn't have access. And so how we did that is we would people would be able to get produce by volunteering, just by volunteering in the garden for an hour a week was the minimum. And then we also donated to our local senior centers and food pantry. We only had one food pantry in Tempe, but we didn't have anybody else that was donating to it. So that's where a lot of our produce went to.
Okay. How did you see what changes specifically did you see with any of the families? Do you have any success stories that you'd like to share with us?
Well, one of the main gardens that we worked with was at the Escalante Community Center, and that one did have a lot of children's programming. So over the summertime, we had summer camps, and so the kids would come in during whatever age group they had. They would come in and they'd have different activities that we planned for them in the garden, and just being able to teach them and them carrying that, I wouldn't say just the education, but the excitement over to their parents. So then their parents could come in on the garden work days on the weekends and they would get more involved.
Awesome. How do you see this translating to our work currently?
So for what we do, I think that just providing that same like I said, I don't want to say just education because it's not just education that we're providing, but it's also just the feeling of empowerment. I think that people can achieve once they start learning more about their food and where it comes from.
Awesome. What are you most excited about with joining the center?
Well, I'm excited to be able to grow different things because in the desert, you're very limited to, well, I wouldn't say just limited, but there are certain things that you grow there that you can't, things that grow here that you can't grow there, and things that grow there that you can't grow here. So it's a new, just new varieties of plants and stuff, and being able to teach those things. And then also being able to work with more traditional foods that are traditional to the, Midwestern tribes and tribes that are around my own tribe. Because I did work with some other some of the kids that lived in Salt River Pima Reservation, because that was what was closest to Tempe, and they didn't really have that type of that resource available to them to learn about traditional foods and stuff like that. So I took it upon myself to do that, to try to learn more about the tribes around the area, because because I think that's important, especially when it's not available in school or anything like that.
Mm.
But then, like, for me, it's exciting because I get to learn that here and then, teach it to everybody around here.
Yeah. Sharing what we learn is, I think, one of the most important things in education, especially when it comes to sharing tradition, because those are all passed down from generation to generation.
Mhm.
Why is why is food sovereignty important in your eyes?
Well, I think it makes us more like reliant on ourselves instead of being reliant on somebody else. I think it's more empowering to the community when, like I said, when you know where your food comes from and when you know that it's going to be there, it's always going to be there. And you're not going to have to rely on somebody for that. Like, you can provide for your community without depending on somebody else.
You
And
bet.
then doing that in a way that is traditional and also while providing like proper nutrition and like a healthy diet.
Mhm. I know you've had lots of work with farmers markets. What do you envision our farmers market for our region to look like for the fall and the following
Mhm.
season?
I honestly, it's like it's almost like painting a perfect picture. I know that's not like nothing's perfect, and I know it's not going to be easy, but um, I think creating a market that is different than what I'm used to doing, because like I said, I worked in urban environments, so I work with um, sometimes established companies, sometimes smaller companies, and like smaller farms and bakers and stuff like that that are just starting. So
Mhm.
I think kind of having that visual of what a farmer's market looks like but then adapting it to the community that we're serving. I think that that in itself is exciting to me because that's not something that I'm used to creating. So it's something new. It's something that I'm excited to do because I'll get to meet, native people, native vendors, native artists, people that make food, and like I want it to be for the community. So I'm interested to know what the community wants and what do they need,
Awesome.
and then like making that into what they want and what's going to be sustainable for them.
Great. Well, we will include your contact information in the comments in the video. And anybody who's interested in setting up or offering some ideas.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm all about ideas and input from anybody in the community because this is for the community. This is something that we're creating for the community. And then, they can elaborate, they can make it, they can have input, they can, what do you want to see at your market? What's going to make the community want to come back in utilizing that,
Yeah, you bet. Well, I want to thank you today for hopping on with us and sharing a little bit about you and your heart for our project. I'm really excited about all the things that are going to be accomplished. And again, if anybody has questions, Angelina's email and my email will be in the comments of the video. And feel free to contact us with any questions you have or input.
Thank you for having me.